This reform, I dare say, as a Nigerian, as a patriot, and for those that know me, know that when I speak, I shoot straight. The northern Nigeria will be one of the best beneficiaries of this reform. This reform is a reform of balance. It's a reform that speaks to equity. It's a reform that speaks to data and has provided a platform for improvement going forward.
Hello and what's up guys. In this video I am going to let you watch some clips about the new tax reform bill that the northern elites are opposing and misinforming their followers about, claiming the reforms are against the north. Additionally, some Islamic clerics have misinformed their followers, suggesting the reforms are anti-Islam. However, that's not the focus of this video. This video today is about an enlightened and highly exposed northerner who has appeared on various platforms to set the record straight about what the tax reforms entails and how they will benefit the north as well as other strategic states in Nigeria. Let's hear from the horse's mouth.
The president is racing against time. This issue of tax and all that shouldn't have come. He should have allowed or ensure that people, see the benefit of subsidy removal, benefit of floating the naira. People are still trying to recover from those shocks.
Absolutely.
And now that is why they don't even trust that the tax reform bills will produce any, legitimate child of sort.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me go back to this issue of, you see, like I said, the North needs to be strategic. We are not the only ones in this country. I have staked my life for this country, my grandfather, my father. We should speak out. It is time for what I call the Northern Reawakening, Hamza. If we don't do that, we'll be left in the motor park. Now, the entire bill, there's a very sore point of it is the increase in VAT. Why not the Northern elites and the intellectuals like us sit down and do a counter? That's the counter I'm saying. Okay, tick, 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 this is allowed. In the present VAT regime, we allow it to continue with the allocation by derivation or consumption. But we don't agree with increment to 7.5%, for example, until such a time that the economy improves. We take that, we move. That is my position. So throwing away with the baby,
so you are giving them
free consultation. Yes. Secondly, we need to understand the dynamics of this, and that is why the political class has been taking us for a ride, Hamza. Education, 70% of the responsibility of providing education in Nigeria is the responsibility of the states. Third Fund is talking about tertiary institutions. The rate of education that is most in the north is at the primary level and the secondary level. What are the governors doing? We talk about interventions. I don't want to sound like a spokesperson of APC. He's the member of APC, I'm not.
Yes.
But I try to balance this for Nigeria.
He is actually giving them.
I want to balance it for Nigeria because for me, it's about Nigeria. It's not about, after all, like I say many times, Nigerian politicians are the same actors in different costumes. So it's not that. But let's dimension this thing properly. When subsidy was increased, they are northern Nigeria. Our governors with profound respect didn't kick against it. Why? Because they were collecting double allocation. The question is, have we asked them as citizens, what have they done with that money? I feel very ashamed, and I'm saying with all sense of responsibility, that any governor in Nigeria will dare say today, if there's tax reform, they cannot pay salary. It is unfortunate. We should have a fear of God. What if those states are federal republics on their own? What will happen? If those states are federal republics on their own and COVID happened, what will happen? This president has been giving them double. But because they were together, they didn't come to say people is against the north. They were pocketing the money. Over 100 billion. I may be wrong, but over 100 billion has been allocated by federal government to states as palliative interventions. 5 billion per state, trucks of rice and whatever. What has happened to that? You see, it has come to a point whereby we should recognize that as Nigerians, when you are driving, a good driver looks at the rear view mirror and the side mirrors as you are looking ahead. We should look at our colleagues at the other side. They are guilty of the same. But the approach is different. Now you have governors have suddenly become activists. As a typical northerner, I will start becoming suspicious of those people that are rent-seeking commission collection, and they keep quiet, and now they are shouting they want to cheat you. Because that is how they have been doing to us for many years. We have produced more presidents and heads of state than any region in Nigeria, yet we are the most backward. Why? Because at the subnationals, and indeed even those representing us at the federal, are not representing us adequately. And that is where we should start holding governors to account. And then at the same time, take our destiny in our hands. My brother here should go through the bill. I should go through the bill. Like I said, these are my observations. And for example, the items that are supposed to be taxed, are there items that are exempted from tax that we, the northerners, should say we should tax them? Because if we do, it will catalyze, more revenue for us, for example. This is how we should think and reposition. And if other parties see that, this thing is not, they will say, keep it like that. Or if it happens, it is for the betterment of the country. But I will line with this at this point in time. The point is this, even whether or not this tax reform is undertaken, unless the citizens in the north start holding their political leaders to account, especially these governors, it will get worse and worse and worse. The issue of insecurity, the issue of lack of education and health issues and all that is the core responsibilities of our governors. And if these northern governors, as they are kicking against it now, hold the president to account, because indeed majority of them are APC, then we may not be seeing what we are seeing. So as far as I'm concerned, we as citizens of the north, not the political leaders, not the traditional institution or the religious institution, with due respect to them, because as far as I'm concerned, I see a conspiracy of silence, selective silence on issues that concern Nigerians. We can read and write. Let me give you an instance. Do you know that I heard about a group, in a WhatsApp group, that northern intellectuals subjected the bill to AI? And then you come out and write position papers and you are quoting sections of the bill that I have seen does not tally with what is in the bill. So let us be serious about it. The VAT doesn't have to be increased, but we should put a counter position that is in the best interest of the north, but that is balanced for Nigeria. We don't have to increase the VAT, but the reform will help us at the end of the day. And accountability for the governors and indeed the president is very key.
Are you agreeing with Chibuzo in his own, he says that it's a good bill? Anything you see that is controversial?
Thank you very much, Shehu. It's good to be here. Today is a landmark day for Nigeria. I want to say straight ahead that this reform is one of the best reform that has been undertaken by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And by the way, for the purpose of disclosure, I'm a northerner, I'm a Muslim, I'm from Kano State. I want to commend the Presidential Committee, presented here by the Chairman, Mr. Oyedele, for doing an excellent job. And I'll tell you why, my fellow Northern Nigerians. I would like to refer us, because I got a bit worried, Shehu, when I saw the reactions of political leaders and other interested parties from Northern Nigeria, and it triggered me to have to speak to our people on my podcast, Reflections with Baba Yuzu, on a topic called Dear Northern Nigeria, what have we done to ourselves? This is not the first time, but it's becoming a cyclical reaction that I think will not take us anywhere as a people. This reform, I dare say, as a Nigerian, as a patriot, and for those that know me, know that when I speak, I shoot straight. The Northern Nigeria will be one of the best beneficiaries of this reform. This reform is a reform of balance. It's a reform that speaks to equity. It's a reform that speaks to data and has provided a platform for improvement going forward. And I'll speak to 4 critical points out of this bill, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, I will take it off from what my co-panelists mentioned about the multidimensionally poor Nigerians, over 133 according to NBS last year, over 133 million, out of which over 70% are from Core North, right? And we have also heard from Chairman of the Presidential Committee highlighting those that are exempted from tax. And to that extent, I agree with my panelists that about 90% of the vulnerables will be exempted from this tax. So as a northerner, where about 70% of multinationally poor are resident and surviving and struggling under the vagaries of socio-economic headwinds, it should be pleasing to our leaders that where we have failed at subnationals, there is federal intervention to provide that which have not been provided by state governors. Secondly, I also noted in the bill the contentious issues of VAT. And mine is very simple. I am a strong proponent, surprisingly to a lot of northerners, of allocation by derivation or allocation by consumption. Why? Because this rent-seeking transactional commission collection style of leadership will continue making people lazy and will make us complacent and forget the principles of leadership. The three cardinals of principles of leadership, fellow Nigerians, are value creation, value innovation, and value protection. And to my mind, these kind of reforms are the kind of reforms that will ease out politicians that go into power for the purpose of rent seeking and commission collection. And if the argument is, without conceding, that this tax reform will reduce the inflow of the monthly allocation, whereby governors go cap in hand monthly to collect this as the only means of survival to the extent will not pay salary, I worry then to ask myself, why do people aspire to become leaders if they cannot create value, if they cannot innovate? Indeed, some of the states in Nigeria are even bigger than some countries around the world who are thriving. Why? Because they create the value, they innovate, and they protect the value. So, if you look at the VAT, what has been done with this VAT is that the derivation, allocation by derivation or consumption, however we want to, presupposes that for the site in Sokoto where BUA is extracting Sokoto and doing Sokoto cement, for example, whereby the current policy says the headquarters of BUA is in Lagos and almost the entire VAT goes to the headquarters. Now it's telling us that a chunk of that is going back to Sokoto, not all of it going to Lagos. Is that a value addition? In my own just simple arithmetic, the people of Sokoto should be clapping and singing to the high heavens that now they have an opportunity for them to add value. The same thing with my state, Kano. If you look at the subscription, MBS listed subscription of the MTN subscribers for last year. Lagos, 26 million subscribers as of Q1 last year. Ogun State was next with 13 million, over 13 million. Kano, listen to this, over 12 million. Of course, Bayelsa 1.6 and Ebonyi 1.6. What this new reform is telling us, my dear brothers and sisters in the north, is MTN will now not pay VAT only to Lagos. It means these 12 million subscribers will be accounted for and prorated and be sent back to Kano, for example. Whereas, as it is today, almost all the states lose to Lagos, just as an instance. And you can go on and on with these instances. Right. I think one of the problems is, I will land with this, we should read these bills because we don't read them. Unless we read them, we will not understand the value. And citizens should read the systems and not the bill and not wait for political leaders to advise them.
Madam Baba, I would like to have your own take. What do you think the northern governors, how do you assess their arguments, for outrightly rejecting the bill in their meeting earlier in the week?
Well, first of all, as far as I'm concerned, it's a reflection of what some of us have been saying. I am from the north and I'm very disappointed with the outlook and the, mindset of the leadership of the northern elites, in this particular instance, the northern governors. Highly transactional mindset. It's not strategic. If you look at some of the arguments, particularly that issue of the derivation, I'm a student or I'm a proponent of allocation of resources based on derivation. That is the only thing that will drive productivity. This rent-seeking, commission collection attitude cannot move us forward. And that is the only thing that will chase out people that have no business in government to get out of there. You must have the mindset of value creation and value protection, right? And value innovation for you to lead people. If anybody you can do this, you just go, they bring allocation, you put it in your pocket somewhere. Part of the argument as a Muslim, the derivation, we say alcohol is haram, is prohibited. But the governors go and collect it in the agbada and put it and go away, right? And if we are going to follow that principle, we say, oh, are we also eating haram? Also, it's not haram anymore. But come to think of it, within the same compound also, betting and gambling, there is a proviso that gives high notch of tax collection on betting and gambling. So I see some kind of balance in that regard. And as patriots, as leaders that they are, with profound respect to them, there should be some forward-thinking attitude to this. This running only, because as far as I'm concerned, this is not in the interest of Northerners or not in the interest of Nigeria, especially when Northerners group themselves and say, hey, this is not in the interest of the North. What are we saying? You have a Northern Governors Forum. Governor Sheyi Makinde spoke on behalf of the forum and NEC. I think that was good enough. You can go back, discuss as a subnational or a region, right, and push your position at whatever it is. And it should be robust and highly intelligent, either through the Senate or through the stakeholders, so that we can have a better tax, system. For example, we should be having conversations about, yes, we should tax the rich more than the poor, and to ensure that within the framework of that bill, that is what is going to happen. Telling me you are going to take 25% from 1.5 million is not supposed to be, because as far as I'm concerned, with what has happened since President Tinubu came into power today, the value of 1.5 million is less than $1,000 for crying out loud. And then those are the real issues. So these are the issues I would have loved to see us chasing. And let me drive a one kobo advice for them to drop this. If we are going with this, let us go forward, and we should never look backward, like Mujid said, about looking at derivation and all that. And if I'm sitting and I'm advising them, I say, look, when you start doing this and tomorrow you cannot say it shouldn't be done to you. Northern Nigeria is the food basket of the nation. Why don't you sit down and look at the entire value chain of the food we provide to Nigeria, from mutton to beef to whatever, and the entire food. 70% of the food that is consumed in Nigeria and the West African sub-region, I can tell you, comes from Nigeria. So why don't we now come and be creative? Is it not VAT? Is it no? And see how we can extract value out of that, so long as the item is going out of Kano. Exactly. Those are the kind of conversation I would like us to be having.
Thank you so much.